Hey, how you doing? This is Phil and welcome to another origami video where we can fold cool stuff out of paper. Origami is the Japanese art of paper folding. Now, what you need to do is start with a square piece of paper, and if you don't have a square piece of paper, you've got this kind of piece of paper, which comes from a printer, which we call letter, or A4 in Europe. You need to make it into a square. But there's a handy trick that all origami enthusiasts know and how to make your piece of paper into a square.
And if you already know how to do this, then skip ahead to 2 minutes.
Just fold it up so it aligns with the top of the paper. Make sure that's perfectly aligned and make sure it goes all the way to make that point, and it folds that point perfectly in half. Adjust it until you got it right before you make your fold. That looks about right, just like that. And fold it down. There we go. And now what we want to do is we want to take this fold, this extra hanging off piece of paper, we want to fold it over. I find if you flip it over, it's easier because you can line up the edge of the paper below it a little easier. Make sure you've got it all aligned perfectly before you press down and make that fold. And here's the other really awesome trick that origami people know, is if you run your thumb along that crease all the way down that fold, and then you can even fold it over the other way and do the same thing. Run your thumb all the way along and make that crease really, really strong. Then you can open it up and start your tear very carefully at the edge of that crease, but then it will just follow the crease and you can tear in a perfectly straight line. And there you go, a cut without scissors. And here is your perfectly square piece of paper. Now, we are going to be making a crane. And this is a little bit harder than some of the other folds I've showed you. This would be, I would say, medium hard. So if you haven't done the other folds, I'd suggest you start with the boat or maybe the frog to get warmed up. But if you're ready to go for the crane, here's what you do. First, you're gonna fold it in half. Doesn't matter which half because it's a square, right? And make your fold along that line. And then look, there's a handy dandy fold right here that you can use to fold up a triangle on this side, a nice little right angle triangle there. And then you're gonna flip it over, fold up a triangle on this side. And make sure that it comes right down to the point at the end, like that. And now you lift it up and you open up the inside like this, and you pull the two sides away from each other until it folds over into a square, or a diamond if you prefer. You gotta make sure you gotta push down if the paper isn't behaving. Make sure you push it down with your finger before you push down on that fold to get it nice and aligned. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the open end and face it towards us, and you're going to fold over this one flap, not two, just the one, into the middle. So this is perfectly horizontal and it goes all the way down, and you follow that middle line and you make your fold there. And we're going to fold this one over to do the same thing on this side, right? Like that. And then guess what? We're flipping it over. We're doing the same thing again. This is the fold that I find extra frustrating, and you'll see why in a minute. Fold this one over too. There we go. So we folded all four edges into the middle, just like that. Now you're going to take the top and you're going to fold the top over so that it folds down sort of like an ice cream cone, right? And you can run your thumbnail along this because you'll want that fold to be really, really strong, especially at the edges. Fold it over the other way just to be safe. Very good. Now, this is why it's annoying. You're gonna undo everything you just did. You're gonna unfold that, you're gonna unfold this one, you're gonna unfold this one, and you're gonna unfold this one and unfold that one. And you go back to the start. Why? Because now we're gonna do the super secret tricky part that makes this crane fold a little bit difficult. You're gonna take one layer not all of them, just the one. And you're going to pull it up. And you're going to pull it up and organize it so that it folds along all the lines you made. So it's going to have to fold along this bottom line here. And what you want to do is you want to push the edges in so that new folds happen right along the lines that you've made. Now, it will be difficult. It will have little bumps in it and it won't organize itself. So just take your finger and push out where it's not behaving until it starts to fold down along those guidelines. And when it does, you can push it down perfectly flat. And there you go. Now, it may not be perfect. See, mine's not exactly perfect down here, but that's okay. So, like I said, you want to take it and fold it up. Another thing you can do is just take this end and pull it really tight, and that helps the paper organize itself into where it might want to go, but you'll still have to work it and get it to line up with those folds we made before. The reason we make those guide folds is that's really hard to do if you don't have a guide to work with. Now flip it over and do the same thing. And when you get good at it, it shouldn't take you too long. See how I'm pushing out the paper with my finger just to make sure that it behaves? That's another reason why I like origami, is that it helps you with manual dexterity. It means you get better at making things with your hands, which is good for everything you do in your life, ever, always. All right, so there we go. We've got it folded down into a nice, cool looking diamond. Now you'll notice that there are two pieces, two ends that don't touch, and then the other one is attached. So you want to make sure that the non-touching ends are facing you. And what you want to do is just fold it over on one side, like that, then flip it over and do the same side you did before. So if you did the right, fold the right. If you did the left, fold the left. Fold it over like that. And now we've got the two sides, not touching, on the top. And it sort of looks like a foxy face. Foxy face. Now, there's a line right here that we've done before. That's great because it's going to help us fold this top, or the bottom part, up to the top and line it up and flip it over. Do the same thing. Use that line right there. Fold it up into this. All good? Okay, now what we want to do is just tilt it up and grab the tip of the two hanging bits. You want to pull one out, and this is going to be the head of your crane. So just pull it out to a certain point that makes sense as the head of your crane, the neck of your crane. How about there? That's nice. When you got that where you like it, just push those bottom folds into place. And then you're going to open up the inside, and you're going to take that tip and you're going to fold it into the middle. So basically just take it and open it up and fold it down, and then recrease the side like you had it. Fold it down and then push those two sides together and make a crease. And this is the beak. So again, put the beak where you want the beak. How about here? Maybe that's good. The other thing is, if you don't like where the beak is there, you can, once it's folded, you can adjust it a lot easier. You can move it up, you can move it down and refold it until it's where you want it to be. There we go. There's the front of your crane. And now you just want to do the same thing with the tail of your crane. I like to have the tail of the crane a little bit lower than the head. So just pull it down, pull it down, pull it down until about maybe there. That's nice. And then you'll want to delicately fold over the wings. So just fold them down. You don't have to make a big crease in this fold. You just want to sort of like aim them down and then lightly press it down. You don't have to make a super great fold because you sort of want it to stick up. And then start rounding the wings with your fingers so they're nice and round. And now here's the cool thing. This crane flaps. What you do is you hold it right here at the, I guess that would be the chest of the crane, and then you hold the tail and you pull the tail. If you've done it right, it'll start flapping. And there you go, a flapping crane. Now this is one of two crane folds. This is actually the easier fold, but there's a nice decorative crane fold that will be attached in a video below if you want to do that fold as well. There you go, crane fold origami, pretty awesome. I will see you next time. Until then, stay curious.